Archive fashion explained. In today's video, I'll be explaining what it is, how to get it, what it even looks like, and basically just go in depth about it. First, we gotta understand what archive is in this fashion space. What makes a clothing item quote unquote archive is the age, the material, who designed it, and a couple other factors. What makes the difference between archive fashion and regular fashion is that it's not all mass production, mass produced, if you know what I mean. As in, there's one of one pieces, as in one of one jeans, one of one shirts, one of one designer pieces. Being designer doesn't necessarily make it archive. It could just be a rare piece from a time back then, you know? Thing that comes along with that are heavy price tags, such as $500 for some Japanese denim. But it is for the more higher end fashion people, I say. But there's still a way around, because the way people are sourcing these things are like going to thrifts, or the other option, going on Grailed. So if you want to blow a paycheck on some archive Japanese jeans, then I mean you can, and they probably would look good. Would it be worth it? I don't know. And that's where the difficulty lies in when coming into archive fashion. As with any other aesthetic, it's hard and there's other steps that you gotta do. But when it comes to archive fashion, there isn't a type of look associated with it. You'll go on TikTok and you'll look up archive fashion and you'll get all the guys in their skinny bootcut jeans and their unique fur jackets, but that doesn't necessarily attach the look of archive to it. But that doesn't define archive fashion, as archive fashion doesn't have a look. Like I said, it doesn't have a definitive look or a definitive aesthetic, because archive fashion is more than just an aesthetic. Because when you think about it, archive fashion is a way of life. Not to sound corny or anything, but yeah, it is, because there's that separating line between fast fashion and archive fashion. As archive fashion encourages owning rare pieces, one-of-one pieces that not other people have, and is typically made out of good material and real denim and not plastic bullshit that a lot of companies put in our clothes nowadays. But that's the thing about archive fashion. It goes against that. But you know, it's difficult to get into. Now, obviously, there are some brands that you'll be able to find, like Rick Owens, Raf Simons. Those can be considered archive fashion, especially if they're more older pieces. But like I said, you don't necessarily have to own designer old pieces to really get into the archive fashion. But you probably would need money. And me personally, I don't got a lot of that, so I'm not really into the whole archive fashion thing. But that doesn't mean I don't have pieces or one-of-one pieces, as I get my clothing mostly sourced from my friend Wicked Garments. What he does is create one-of-one unique clothing. He takes apart pants, makes them something entirely new, because I think the healthier thing, instead of promoting spending hundreds of dollars on rare items of clothing that, you know, you might not even wear every day, I honestly believe that the whole secondhand movement, you know, thrifting and all that stuff, is good. The whole secondhand aspect of the whole archive fashion is what I believe to be the most important part. As I said, archive fashion nowadays has kind of been associated with a more alternative look, as you got these TikTok guys putting those audios, and while they just sit in front of the camera or farming with their outfits. There's more to archive fashion than just that, as it doesn't have a particular look or vibe. You know, it's just old clothing. Don't get too lost deep into it, as you start defeating the purpose of the whole secondhand thing when you start dropping thousands and thousands of dollars on old secondhand clothing. Like, it shouldn't be that expensive, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose and creates a weird paradox loop of corporate greed. There are groups and communities that revolve around archive fashion, and they build their whole closet and wardrobe out of finding these rare grailed pieces, which, you know, it's basically like collecting Pokemon cards. You know, some people like that. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you understood the concept of archive fashion, and don't get confused. If you want to get into this, you don't have to look a certain type of way. You don't have to be a certain type of aesthetic. You just gotta have heavy pockets, I guess. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell button, everything in between. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on archive fashion, and if you would even get into it. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you all in the next one.